Today, we're going to show you how a New York Times reporter got schooled on inflation by JD Vance. It was a moment of pure gold as Vance tore into the truth about inflation and how the media loves to twist the numbers. We're about to break down exactly what went down. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. Today, we're going to watch a glorious moment of clarity where JD Vance took a New York Times reporter to school on inflation. Now, inflation might seem like a boring topic, but trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. So picture this. A New York Times reporter tries to pull a fast one, claiming that inflation is now below 3% for the first time since mid-2021. Sounds like good news, right? Wrong. The crowd immediately reacted, booing, and rightly so. JD Vance stepped up to the mic and unleashed a truth bomb that left the reporter scrambling. Give it a watch.
Sir. The New York Times, I wanted to ask you about the latest economic news from this morning with inflation now being under 3%, the lowest rate since mid-2021. What is your sort of reaction?
Just smile. People know.
Well, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Look, when they say that inflation is down, they mean from a baseline where groceries are already 30% more expensive than they were when Donald Trump was president.
Yes.
And they're not saying it's coming down. They're just saying it's not going up as fast as it was 3 years ago. That is not a reputation or a record to brag on. That's a record to be ashamed of.
Right.
Why did it take them so long to get inflation to where it is? And why are prices so high? It's because Kamala Harris failed to do her job. So if they want to go around, and this is, you know, it's funny. Kamala Harris, on the one hand, will say, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis. And like I said earlier, Kamala Harris has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, she's in effect been the acting president because we all know Joe Biden isn't home. So she's been the one controlling government policy for 3.5 years. She says she wants to tackle the affordability crisis on day one. And then on the other hand, she'll say, oh, we've already got inflation under control. Well, which is it, Kamala? Which is it? The simple truth is America's credit card debt is getting higher. Americans are finding the basic necessities of middle-class life less affordable. Americans are becoming, especially young people, are becoming paupers in their own country. If we don't do better, our young generation, they're not going to own anything. They're not going to have anything. They're going to be renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. Inflation is a disaster. Kamala Harris does not have a leg to stand on.
That's the exact truth. That was a truth bomb that the New York Times guy didn't like. Now, here's the deal. Inflation isn't falling. It's just slowing down. And that, my friends, is a big difference. Vance pointed out that grocery prices are still a whopping 30% higher than they were when Trump was in office. See, the thing is, inflation is cumulative. Let me break it down. If you had 8% inflation last year and 3% this year, do you know what that means? You don't have just 3% inflation. You've got a combined 11%. But good luck explaining that to the liberal media reporter who's trying to spin a narrative. See, it's cumulative. The prices we're paying now are the result of last year's 8% inflation. Just because inflation is slowing down doesn't mean prices are going to drop. Stores aren't going to lower prices just because inflation is cooling off. Why? Because they'd lose money. And in case you missed it, businesses are in the business of making money. Now, if that's not enough to make you question what you're being fed by the mainstream news media, well, I don't know what will. It's almost as if they want you to believe that everything's fine. Nothing to see here, guys. Move along. But as JD Vance so eloquently pointed out, the truth is far more complicated. This little inflation lesson serves as a reminder. Don't believe everything you hear, especially when it comes from someone with an agenda. The numbers don't lie, but people do, especially when those people work for the New York Times. So there you have it. JD Vance once again putting the liberal media in its place. Inflation is cumulative, folks, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. All right, thank you for watching. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with the latest on inflation and more. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
Little by little, piece by piece, I take back what's been stolen from me. Little by little, piece by piece, until I'm complete.